I can do it the core value equation way, which we talk about in the book, which is I'm going to discover, which is a well-worn path. I'm going to design. I'm then going to roll out the right way. I'm going to implement and reinforce, and I'm going to measure for efficacy. I'm going to optimize and make sure that's coming to life. And you got to keep it simple or else people won't do it. But if I've done that, if I've made the core value of ownership come to life through a process like the core value equation process, then what's the next step? Well, owners, the reason we go to bat like that for our team and for ourselves is because we have the highest incentive to do it. So then you have to design an ownership structure, an incentive structure that incentivizes ownership behavior. What's up, guys? Welcome to The Greatness Machine. I'm your host, Darius, and I'm so pumped to have you here with me. Now listen, The Greatness Machine is about two things. Number one, people who are living their passions. And number two, those who are creating greatness in the world. Doing both of these despite the odds against them. Each episode, we're going to feature interviews of world-class speakers and business leaders, showcasing their origin story, what made them tick, what got them to where they are now, so it can help you step into your greatness within your own life, business, and career. Occasionally, you might hear a few solo episodes from myself, moi, as I say, as I leverage my 20 years in entrepreneurship as a CEO to help you grow and level up in your journey to scale your life and your business. So come be a fly on the wall, enjoy the conversation and messages, and I'm stoked to have you guys here. All right. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Darius here. So this morning I'm having a conversation with my accountability partner. This guy's a really successful real estate guy, owns like 4,000 apartments in the United States. One of the most successful people that I get the pleasure of spending time with. And he asked me a really interesting question. He said, Darius, I'm having this issue and I wanted to see if we could carve out some time to talk about it. So yeah, sure, man, whatever you want. And he said, I really am struggling with trying to create a culture of ownership in my company. And I really want to, I want to figure out a way to, maybe how I incentivize my team. And, they're doing a great job. Don't get me wrong. They're doing a great job. But I just really I want to take that last inch. I want them to really act like what would they do if they were the owners? And I said, well, do you want my easy answer to this or my hard answer to this? He's like, no, just give me your answer. I said, well, look, man, it's really simple. I said, I want to back up for a second. Do you know that what the definition of the word core values is, like the Webster's dictionary definition? He said, no. I said, the Webster's dictionary definition of the word core values is that it's the fundamental beliefs of a person or an organization. What do you know what the word fundamental means? Fundamental means it's the most important. So core values are the most important beliefs of a person or organization. So when I get someone to come into my business and I want them to take ownership, which we always hear people say, oh, we have a culture of ownership. And then you go and look and people are acting like employees. They're acting like they're there for a paycheck. They do 80% of what needs to get done. Because we know, look, if you've ever been an owner of something, there's owner mindset and there's non-owner mindset. And I'm going to walk you through what the difference is. I had this situation once where I had an auditor that was coming in from the state of Massachusetts into my company. And I had all these files and they were disorganized. And I was totally freaking out because Massachusetts is a gnarly, highly regulated state. And I had to get all these files ready, and I literally had to do it myself because my business was getting crushed. I didn't have a team member to do it. And so I went to the office and I literally stayed there all night Friday, all day and all night Saturday, all day and all night Sunday. I slept there. I was a sleeping bag on the floor in a 17,000 square foot office doing files. And I had to do it by myself. And whenever I think of ownership mentality, that's what I think of. And so no, that's an extreme example, but that is what owners do. That's what we will go. We will, like, when you are an owner, you will put everything aside to do what needs to get done for the business. Unfortunately, that's something that can come at the expense of our relationships and our family and stuff like that. And so now, do we need 100% of that from our team? Of course not. You're going to be really hard pressed to get. When you get that, that's a gift, by the way. When someone's that loyal, and loyalty is a gift. Let's not mince words here. When people say, I expect loyalty, my answer to you is loyalty is a gift. So would you say, I expect a gift? No one would ever say that. Are you guys enjoying the show so far? Darius here, and by now you might know that I'm passionate about a few things. Pizza,
pink unicorns, core values, and down and dirty, interesting conversation with some amazing people. However, the biggest one that I've spent most of my career on is entrepreneurship and scale. You see, look, my first few years in business, I spent like probably a good 5 years of my life getting my freaking teeth kicked. I mean, really getting crushed. And I learned a lot during that time period. So I spent the greater part of the last couple of years helping entrepreneurs scale their businesses in a meaningful way without going through the same growing pains that I did. And what I realized is that CEOs and business leaders don't know if they can scale, and thus they do the right thing at the wrong times. This causes them to lose clarity, lose momentum, alignment, and the bottom line is you lose money. And look, you don't have to do that. It's why I created what I call the scalability assessment. And you can access it 100% for free. That's right, guys. There are perks to listening to the Greatness Machine. All you have to do is go to dariusscale.com. That's DARIUS scale, SCALE.com. And there you can check to see if your business is set up to scale properly. It's going to give you a scalability score at the end, and it's also going to give you some clarity on what you can do next. Once again, guys, that's www.itsdariusscale.com. Once again, guys, it's dariusscale.com. And now back to the show.
Ownership is loyalty. Loyalty is going above and beyond, and it's a gift. But we can design for it to a certain degree. And so my comeback to my friend is I said, hey, listen, there's two ways of doing this. Number one is if you want to create a culture, a mentality of ownership with your team, then we need to design for that. And the only way I know how to do it is with core values. I can take the word ownership and I can say, this is a requirement to work here, is you have to have an ownership mentality. Now, lots of companies do this and then they fail miserably. They just put the word on a piece of paper, hang it on the wall, and then people just say, walk by it and eat their, lunch and drink their coffee and act like non-owners. But first of all, putting it out there is one thing. Secondly, is designing for it. Am I hiring people with an ownership mentality? Because we know what that is. People who take ownership have an ownership mentality. Am I firing for people that don't have that? Am I then filtering the right people into the organization that naturally take ownership and filtering those out that don't? Because you got to do that. And by the way, this is making our core values come to life. And then what I want to do is I want to constantly reinforce this throughout the organization. And in my book, I talk about this a lot. Is there's two ways of bringing out core values. Number one is I could do it the normal way, which is discover, mediocre rollout, weak implementation. And then I got a bunch of employees looking at the wall and it says the word ownership on the wall. And they're like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. Or I can do it the core value equation way, which we talk about in the book, which is I'm going to discover, which is a well-worn path. I'm going to design. I'm then going to roll out the right way. I'm going to implement and reinforce, and I'm going to measure for efficacy. I'm going to optimize and make sure that's coming to life. And you got to keep it simple or else people won't do it. But if I've done that, if I've made the core value of ownership come to life through a process like the core value equation process, then what's the next step? Well, owners, the reason we go to bat like that for our team and for ourselves is because we have the highest incentive to do it. So then you have to design an ownership structure, an incentive structure that incentivizes ownership behavior. And so there's a great book out there called The Great Game of Business, Jack Stack. And he talks about this, and I'll end on this. What he says is, look, you could self-fund the ownership mentality. What I can say is, hey, the baseline is we want to hit 1 unit of measurement, let's say $1 of profit, and that's what the expectation is of the business. What I tell the team is, hey, listen, when we hit 1.1, because you're acting like owners, and then I'll define the behavior, the KPIs around ownership, well, I'm going to take that extra 0.1 and I'm going to give you a piece of it. Maybe it's 0.1 of the 0.1. Maybe it's 20% of the 0.1. Maybe it's 30%. Maybe it's 50%. Maybe it's 80%. Whatever that number that feels right to you is, I'm going to give them a piece of the action that they get for acting like owners. But we got to define, what does ownership look like? Hire and fire for it. Bring it to life as a core value in the organization if it's so important. And then we got to incentivize for it. So I highly recommend checking out the book, The Great Game of Business. Obviously, my book, The Core Value Equation. And if you want people to act like owners, you got to make that be part of the fundamental beliefs of the organization. Bring it to life, nurture it, do the right things with it, and then incentivize for it. And I'll tell you, it's a tough thing to do, but if you can do it, then you're going to get a room full of owners who are treating your business just like their own, because it kind of is. And that's the way we really get ahead. And I will say this, in the world we're coming into, in the great game of business we're coming into, price, technology is going to be commoditized. The difference between a winning team and a losing team will be a team of people that come in and take ownership. And if I'm in your shoes, I'm going to do what I can to get them to come on board, take ownership of my business, give me that extra 20%. And that will be the differentiating value proposition in this coming decade. Peace out, y'all. Love you.
You are listening to The Greatness Machine, and that's a wrap for today. Guys, The Greatness Machine is all about two things: people who are living their passions and those who are creating greatness in the world. And we feature these messages and speakers so it can help you step into your greatness within your own life and your own business. If you love what you heard, subscribe to the show on whatever podcast platform you're tuning in from, and leave us a review. We love getting reviews for the show. If the episode made you think of someone who is leveling up in their business and life, print screen it, share it with them. Leaders are the best givers, and after all, we're all here to learn from one another. You can also go to our website, www.thegreatnessmachine.com. That's www.thegreatnessmachine.com, and on there, you'll see special tools to help you scale your business faster, show notes for the episode to help you integrate the lessons, and you will also get links that came out during the show. So on there, look, you can also grab a copy of my book, The Core Value Equation, which is a resource for helping CEOs and business leaders establish core values from their teams that don't suck. And mind you, a lot of them suck. Get access to this and more at www.thegreatnessmachine.com. With that said, you guys, look, thank you so much. I appreciate you. I love you. Peace. We out of here. See you guys next time.
She's my lover.